Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas in advance to all of you, as also our panel here. Welcome to the 15th edition of the ICA Cricket Show, brought to you by the Indian Cricketers Association and proudly hosted by me, Satish Vishwanathan. As we all know, the Virat Kohli-led Indian team is in South Africa and all set to kick off the three-test series this coming Sunday, with Centurion hosting the Boxing Day Test. The Indians have never won a series in the Rainbow Nation, making some call it the final frontier. Is this, though, the best chance of setting that anomaly wrong? Let's ask the expert panel, two of whom have played in South Africa earlier, what they think. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome the trio of former Indian cricketers, Nayan Mongia, Praveen Amre, and Pragyan Ojha to the show. Thank you, gentlemen, for making the time. None of them need any introductions, as between them they played as many as 72 tests. Welcome, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Satish.
Thank you, Satish.
Great. Nayan, let me start with you. But first, I would like to tell you something I've been meaning to for a while now, but I haven't got the chance to do so. Your wicket keeping to Anil Kumble, Nayan, is something that stands out in my memory. All my years of watching cricket. I can only wonder how you managed it all. You agree that he was probably the toughest person you kept to?
Yes, Satish, he was the toughest bowler to keep, especially in subcontinent, because as you know that subcontinent wickets are up and down as the day progresses. It's always difficult to keep on that speed when the ball is not turning, or even the bowler doesn't know how much he's going to turn after pitching on the wicket. So it's always going to be difficult. And with his accuracy, with his aggression, with myself practicing with him on a regular basis, even after the practicing, before the match, after the match, know his ability, know his psyche. It really helped me to becomes much easier for me to keep wickets later on.
Brilliant. My question, Nayan, to you is simple. We all know India's preparations were hit by a lot of different factors, and yet here they are with a chance to perhaps create history. How do you see the series going? And having played in South Africa yourself, what is so difficult about playing in South Africa? Do enlighten us.
See, when I toured in '96, I think they had one of the best bowling attack. And the first test match, what we played in Durban, was one of the quickest wicket I have played across in my career. I think it was really fast. They had toured India, they lost the test matches, and then again, it was a twin tour. We went to South Africa immediately, and they prepared one of the fastest wickets in the Durban. And they had Sean Pollock, Alan Donald, Macmillan, Fani. Before that, Praveen Amre played in '92. He must be also knowing what the wickets are like there in South Africa. They were really charged up. They were very eager to prove a point to the world of cricket. They have just arrived in the world of cricket. So, and I still remember, the Azhar's knock, Sachin's knock after that. You need to have a good start. You need to build where you have left it overnight. You just can't give them inches. But in '96, the team was different. And today, the team is different era. We are much stronger, much well prepared, much focused, more aggressive than what we used to be in '90s. This youngsters, the fearless cricket and become more positive. It's a totally different era. It's very difficult to compare. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, especially once once you get a good start in South Africa, you need to capitalize. You just can't throw your wicket because you have a quality fast bowlers there.
Oh, very true. Praveen, he talked about your 100, debut 100. Obviously, we will come to that. But, the whole idea of this series is going to be, we know India's fast bowling strength now. We are a different side altogether. We can give it back in the same coin. But I guess this series is going to be defined by, how the batsmen cope. Even in the absence, Praveen, of the injury hit Andrej Nortje, the host still poses a good attack led by that man, Kagiso Rabada. And, as Nayan was saying, you've got that in Durban, you got your 100. So, like Alan Donald and things like that. What does it take for a batsman to succeed in South Africa? And what can the Indian batters expect?
Well, to be honest, like just now, Nayan mentioned that he played in '96 also. He found that Durban wicket was one of the fastest wicket. And I think maybe, we were in '92. We were not have any data. We had no experience. We were the first team to go and play there. So it was more difficult, or rather more challenging, because we were not aware of those bounces and what type of a wicket. So it is a lot of visualization we have to do that time. That team, basically, we are also had a stalwart like Sachin was there, Sanjay was there, Ravi was there, Azhar was a captain. So we had a decent batting unit, and of course Kapil Paji was there with us. But coming to that, I think this series we are talking, we are not playing any match at Durban. So that is one thing. And maybe we can talk about simply because, like we just mentioned, like we got a strong bowling unit. Maybe that is the one of the reason we can say, like last 5 years of Indian cricket, we saw like we also nothing to take away from what we played even in 92. We had a Javagal Srinath, we had Manoj Prabhakar, and obviously Kapil Paji. But when you have only 3 or 4 and playing 4 test match series, it's a lot of workload, to be honest. And I think that is what we can see right now. The workman of local management is there. We have other backup who can take a rest and they can come back. And if you see, like we won the Australia series, none of our bowler played a 2 test matches, to be honest. Like they maybe broke down or they were not available. But even though we won the series, so to me, I think that is maybe the biggest plus we got. And maybe that is one of the reasons, because in their itinerary, 92, 96, even a 2000, whenever a team, the first test match always at a Durban, simply because they wanted to, like Nayan mentioned, it's very important to start in a series also. So one first test match is going to be a very, very important. Who get a start, they can, really, literally dominate the series. So maybe that's something is on their South Africans question mark is there. Like we got a bowling unit. They also got a batsman's question mark, to be honest, to getting runs against quality team. So maybe probably that is like whatever the grounds we are going to play. Like they are one of the finest wicket, I will say, to play. Like Pretoria Centurion is a good wicket. It got a good bounce, but there is not a swing like a Durban. Durban wicket is very difficult simply because it's close to the sea. It's a coastal ground, and there is a wind plays a big role. So after tea, there is a ball swings like anything. Morning ball flies. So it's a basically the skill of batsmanship, to be honest, because you have to tackle with a pace and bounce and as well as swing. But whereas when you play in a Wanderers or Centurion Park, there are not that much of swing bowling is there. Yes, there will be a pace and bounce, but not that much of swing. So that is going to be advantage for batting unit, to be honest, to cope with. Then once you get used to your hand and body get a coordination with the power, bounce and a pace, it's easy to tackle there. And if you see like now this batting unit, there are 90% batsmen already played in South Africa test series. They got 100 there. So I think that is the advantage for our batting. Virat got 200 there. Pujara got 100 there. And we know like Mayank and KL Rahul is doing well. Even Ajinkya also got 96 in Durban. So he knows how to play on those wickets. So I think that is going to be advantage for our batting unit. That's what I personally feel.
Great. I mean, I just hope that the experience of having played there in previous series, will spur them on this time around. And a couple of youngsters also obviously looking to burst into the scene. So Pragyan, this the lead up to the series. Somebody like a Virat Kohli, he obviously has bigger point to prove, and he's done tremendous job with this test team. But he's now got a new coach in Rahul Dravid. So how do you see Kohli, reacting in this particular series with his aggression and all that? Would you think that obviously there are question marks about his runs in recent series, but we know his track record. So what kind of a role you expect from Virat Kohli in your judgment?
I think it's very simple. Every person has their own characteristic. And if they go out of their character, that is where the trouble begins. And for someone like Virat Kohli, he has to play the way he's played it. And that is how he's succeeded. That is how he's carried the team. And that is why he's been leading our country. So every captain have their own way, and Virat has his own. I believe he just has to do what he's been doing, the same aggression, same way, the way he's played, because that is his natural instinct. And if you're trying to curb your natural instinct, I think you're trying to restrict yourself. And when you're going to South Africa, everybody knows that the talk has already started. You have done well in England. You have done well in Australia. Can Indian team do well in South Africa and change the course of the history? So that is something will only happen when Virat plays his natural game. Yes, as a cricketer, all of us know that on a given day, you cannot say that one of the best batsmen or any cricketer can deliver. but the chances grow more when you play your natural game and you be yourself. So I believe if Virat continues to do that, he will definitely succeed.
Nayan, both of them brought up this, the pressure part. Obviously, this team will be under extra pressure because in earlier series, while you wanted them to win, you didn't really expect them to win. This is a series where, in SA, South Africa are probably in their most troubled phase for, again, a variety of factors. They lost their recently leading bowler also in the series. And they've been going through a lot of changes in their system. So this pressure, extra pressure on Indian team, would that affect them, or do you think this is a team which thrives on such pressure?
No, I think off late, they have been taking all kind of pressures and delivering, and they have been pushed to the wall, and they come out in a big way. This Indian team, I think we have seen in Australia, we have seen in England, we have seen in every part of the world. When this team has been pushed back, they have come very strong up. But yes, this team is ready to deliver. They have some quality bowlers, they have some quality batsmen, and they have a big chance to prove themselves in South Africa, which Indian team has never done it before or in the past. So they have this an opportunity. All the batsmen are in great form besides Rahane and Pujara. Rest everybody has got runs. Mayank is in tremendous form. Rahul is in tremendous form. Virat, up to his standard, he has not got 100, but he has got 50s. He has got good start. So they will be expecting the big batsmen to get runs, the bowlers to deliver, and they are thriving on it. I think you need to pick up 20 wickets to win in any form of the game. And on this test matches, especially in test matches, you have quality fast bowlers to deliver and pick up wickets as early as possible and put runs on the board. Everything is done by the bowlers. So I think this team will do well. I'm very confident and very mature where they have been preparing, where they have done it, where they have been performing since last few years. They're number one team in the test ranking. So I have no doubt that they cannot thrive on this success and confidence in the series.
Great. Praveen, I want to bring you also into this part. The fact that for a change we are going to probably into a series as favorites, overseas series. I'm saying India obviously we start off as overwhelming favorites, but for a change we will be. So in this kind of situation, having somebody as level-headed as Rahul as coach, and you have worked with him, Praveen, earlier. What do you think he will bring into this particular setup?
Well, yeah, as you said, like we are with a very few times occasion we are favorites when we go to overseas. But I can say like that is because of last 2 years of performance. We played the test series finals, so it's not that easy to reach the final. So I think those are the factors was there, and I think there are the team who already contributed for that success. And coming to the Rahul, I think he's the perfect man to handling this time of the team is going through. And I think especially the batting unit, the person himself, who else we can get the better than Rahul, to be honest, to handle this type of a players and this type of a talent. I will say we got a talent, so someone has to really guide them, and I think Rahul is a perfect person, and I'm sure he will do that job. And we saw that, like he started also on a winning note in a home series, so which is important for any coach, like to start well. And I think we have to also give the time to Rahul to get like that. It takes a time to get settled down, and that's very important for him also to get settled down. That we got a team is also there. We got a good batting unit. We have experienced batsmen. We have exciting talent. So I think like a Shreyas who got 100 in a debut, and he's there with the team now. So he got a variety of a batting unit players, a type of a players. We also got a backup, like a player like a Shubman Gill can't find in the team place in a playing 11, or rather not in the squad. So we got a good batting unit backup also. So it's good to have a good headache, to be honest, to be as a coach also, because we have a backup. So that's what important for any team. It's not that we got only depend on this certain player only. So it is not the case. And I think that is where, and Rahul, for him, I think he also came step by step. He handled under 19, he handled NCA. So that is going to help him. So he know what are the backups are there. Whom if this is a cricket, we know in last moment injury will come, or the form will be matter, and that time if you want to back up, I think Rahul knows that.
Yeah, he has.
And to add,
please.
Satish, to add to what Praveen sir and Nayan bhai said, I'll say, why Indian team is favorite. See, if you look at any team in the world, if they lose their main player, they have a concern. But if you look at this Indian team, look at what they've done in Australia, what they've done in England. After losing their main players, they went on to dominate the series. So recently, when we spoke about Nokia, see, one bowler misses out and South Africa is thinking what they should do. I'm very sure they'll be planning if they want to go with a wicket which is going to help the seamers, or they're going to give a wicket because it's a series starter game, first game. So it's a very tricky situation when you lose someone who you think is going to be one of the most important members for the series. So he's not there. So, and also, the team that is coming and playing against you has a very good bowling attack. Even if the mainstream bowlers get injured or they're not available, they've got a second batch who can come and dominate you. I think that is something which plays in opponent's mind, and that is what Virat Kohli and his team has done so far. I think that is psychologically, if you see, they have that advantage. That is the reason why we are saying for the first time, Indian team has an advantage over South Africa in their backyard. I think this is something which we should be discussing more, because that is what Virat Kohli has brought into the table.
You're here to discuss whatever you guys want to discuss. You are the experts. But the thing, again, I want to slightly change tack here.
Sure.
Praveen talked about the pitches in South Africa. Nan also mentioned, generally bouncy. Whatever it is, any of the wickets, you're not playing in Durban, but the bounce will be there and all that. So does this bring into India's favor the Ravichandran Ashwin factor? He also thrives on bounce, and he's obvious. I mean, he keeps saying I'm peaking more and more, so he says a lot of things. But what kind of a role do you think Ashwin will play? They also have this Keshav Maharaj who's quite successful for them. But
Yes.
spin will also play a part, right?
Definitely it will have, because if you see what, when Nayan Bhai and Praveen sir toured South Africa, then the wickets were different. But the last time that I went to South Africa, I saw Ravindra Jadeja picking a six wicket haul in Durban. So the wickets are changing and the conditions are changing. So what I feel is Ashwin will be very important, not only on wickets which will help him, but on the wickets, he's not a bowler who will come. Normally when you're touring abroad, if you see the coaches and the captain, they get spinners in to give a break to their fast bowlers. But Ashwin is a bowler who doesn't do that. When he comes in, he gets that, gives you that opportunity of picking 1 or 2 wickets. That is why he's so important. And because of the dynamics of the game, there was always a toss between Ravindra Jadeja and Ashwin, because Jadeja, the way recently we've seen in 1.5 years or 2 years, the way he's been contributing with his bat. But unfortunately, this time he is not there. We will have R. Ashwin, who will be our main spinner, and I see him picking wickets rather than keeping things tight. He'll do that, and a bowler of his stature will not depend on the wickets, because he's got that variation. And after almost getting 400 plus test wickets, he knows what to do. I think this is his second or third tour to South Africa, so he knows the conditions well.
Yeah, great. Nayan, this obviously brings to the other big question: the India's playing 11, and especially around 2 people, it's going to sing. Perhaps Pujara has sealed his spot for now, but Ajinkya is, in South Africa. Last time around, he showed us why it was not a great move to have dropped him in the first place, and maybe performed. So does he figure in your 11, Nayan, and what would be your playing 11 for the first test?
No, I don't think Ajinkya find a place in 11 in the first test match. Shreyas Iyer has done well to seal his berth in 11. He has batted superbly in the last test match in both the innings. So I think he deserves a chance in playing 11 in South Africa, and then see how it goes. Pujara bats number 3. You have KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal opening the innings, and you have 4 at Virat, 4 at Virat coming at 4, 5 at Shreyas Iyer. So I think he will have to wait for some time.
Yeah, Praveen, that's the one part which Nayan didn't touch upon. Number 6, do you play 3 pacers and Ashwin and 7 batsmen including Rishabh, or because they've been playing 5 bowlers, but which means in this case there's no Jadeja. So you probably have to think of Jayant Yadav. But in South African conditions, would you go for a 4th pacer? What's your thoughts, Praveen?
Well, I think Satish, that's again, like we have to see the current situation, the wicket conditions, those are important. But if you of lately we saw like Indian team management always back now 5 bowlers. They want a result. They make sure like they have that option to go with the 5 bowling options to win the match. And I think that's the right attitude also. We got a like Ashwin who got a 500s now in a test. So they can do that also. So to be honest, to me, I will go with depend on the wicket, 3 pacers or 2 spinners, because Jayant can also bat on that. That will be depend on that wicket. To be honest, like it's not easy to take a call from here. We have to see the actual wicket condition, and the team management can see. And coming to batting, I think it's a good headache to have. I will say like you mentioned like Indian team management has done. They dropped Ajinkya Rahane when he was a vice captain, and he came and we won the match at Joburg. So I think like we all know like how important going to be the first test match, where I personally feel the experience will count, and I think we should back young experience also, because to start well we will need, because there will be current situation. I think there is no substitute for experience. So that where I personally feel like team management, and if that is the case, I think who is batting well in the nets current, I think they should back. It should not like who is new talent or experience. I think current form should be the criteria, and because we want players who in a good touch and who can deliver for us.
Good. So we have this thing going. You're saying that probably it boils down to probably between Iyer and Rahane. They have to give it a thought. Luckily, it's their heading. Pragyan, I want to bring in your Hyderabad part here. What about Vihari? How do you rate his bowling first? Will he be a better backup to Ashwin than a Jayant? So you solve some kind of problem issue?
No, he's someone who can give you those 4-5 overs. Maybe trying to give your main bowlers some break. But if you look at the dynamics, the very point why the selectors have selected Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane for this tour is they want them to play there. That is as simple as that, because in the middle order, they want these 2 guys to take the responsibilities with Virat Kohli. That's the only reason why they're there in the team. If the selectors were not confident, then I am very sure one of these 2 wouldn't have been traveling to South Africa. So I'm very sure these 2 guys will play. It will depend on if Hanuma Vihari or Shreyas Iyer makes it into the 11. That's what I feel.
But 4 bowlers or 5 bowlers?
Definitely 5 bowlers, because Virat Kohli, when he took over as the captain of Indian team, he was very clear when he's touring abroad and he's playing test match cricket. He wanted that 5 bowlers theory, and I think he will back it. And I see Mohammad Siraj, one of the bowlers in that. We'll have 4 bowlers and Ashwin. That's how the combination will be. 4 fast bowlers and Ashwin. If the wicket is a bit slow, or maybe it's a wicket which can help the spinners later on, then we can see Jayant Yadav, or else it will be 4 fast bowlers and Ashwin.
You agree, Nayan, on that? Fast bowlers, 4 of them?
It all depends upon the surface, what kind of surface. It's very difficult to predict now for the 4th or the 5 bowlers theory, because we don't know the wicket surface. If you are going with the 4 bowlers and spinners, then you have only about 5 batsmen. It becomes very difficult. And if you want to play Rahane, then Iyer doesn't play. And if you have 6 batsmen, then probably Rahane or Vihari, or Hanuman Vihari can bat at number 6, or Rahane can bat at number 6 and take forward after that. So you have only 3 bowlers, fast bowlers, and 1 spinner. So it depends upon the surface. It's very difficult to predict what kind of surface it is there right now, and it depends upon that they will take the decision.
Okay. Man, there's one person that I want to talk to both you and Praveen about. That's goes to you, man, because I want to talk about his wicket keeping. Rishabh Pant, as improved leaps and bounds behind the stones. Even in India, you see the way he's keeping these days. All that. So where do you rate him, and where does the improvement come from?
I think this game, Vishwanath, is all about confidence. I think he has got the runs, and that has reflected in his keeping. He has worked on his fitness. There is no doubt about it. Keeping is a is all about fitness and concentration. If you have a good fitness, you will be able to concentrate harder. You'll be able to keep better for 6 hours. So that has helped him. His fitness has improved. His keeping has improved. More you keep, more you play matches, your improvement will reflect on the matches, and that is what we have seen in Rishabh Pant. The team management has given a lot of confidence to him. He has got runs. He has given free hand. But yeah, it's a testing time for him. It's much easier to keep wickets in South Africa or Australia. England is difficult because the ball wobbles a lot. In subcontinent, there's an up and down. So the testing time will come. I'm sure he has done well, but I hope and we pray that he keeps performing and he is a bright future for India. There's no doubt about it.
Any tweaks in his technique that you would like him to do, or you're happy with this technique now, wicket keeping technique?
Everybody has a different technique. Dhoni had a different technique. He has a different technique. The basic remains the same, that you need to get up with the ball. You need to keep watching the ball. But as long as your confidence level is high, you are bound to make lesser mistakes. But once you start making mistakes and once you're out of form, then the real challenge and the real character of the person comes out, and how quickly you come out of that bad phase. And keeping it sudden, it's like a fast bowling. Rhythm goes even in the keeping. You miss few balls, few catches, the confidence level goes high. So your fitness level has to be top notch to keep continuing on a good wicket, good keeping skills. You have to keep practicing. You have to keep taking catches. You have to always keep watching the ball. That is the basic things which you need to keep doing it throughout the day. It has to be in your system.
Great. I mean, that's been wanting to ask a wicketkeeper about this. So Praveen, coming to Rishabh, the batsman, obviously, again, you worked for a long time now very closely with him. What do you tell such a character when he goes to bat? Do you tell him anything? You just leave him be? And what is his thought process? We saw what he did in Australia. I mean, impossible situations. And he did a few of those in England. He was criticized for throwing it away, but that's what batting and at that level is all about, right? You succeed sometimes, you fail, but his approach is something altogether different, isn't it?
Yeah, Ms. Satish, this is what we used to play in 1990s, and this is a 2020, right? So this era is different. They are a fearless.
Satish, we can imagine in 1990, me or Amrit getting out like this, probably would have not kept it again. And there's a very thin line in this generation. They say that is how you play. What do you say, Ambi?
Yeah, means that is what, like, this generation is totally different. They are very confident. They know their game. And I think that's what, I think he's the guy who got 100 in England. He got 100 just nearly got 100 in Australia. So he is experienced now. Also, like he has gone through that tough grind, I will say, because of a couple of bad shots. He lost his place in the India team. So he knows what is the difference between fearless and what is the responsibility also. And that's what all test cricket is all about, to be honest. And he's getting matured. Now, as a Delhi Capitals, he's the leader right now. So the responsibility is there on his shoulder. So that is what this type of players, you put a responsibility, they respond well also, to be honest. Like, and he, like, the bottom line, he got that skill, he got that talent. Like, he's the explosive player. And we as a management, we have to understood, like, some days he will look very ordinary when they get out. But on their day, they look so brilliant. And that is what we saw in Australia, the winning last test match. The way he batted, nobody imagined that way. And the way he played that short reverse sweep to the Anderson in a test cricket. Yeah. So I think we have to also change our mindset sometime, because this is a 2020, it's not 90. That's the bottom line.
But you don't tell him anything when he goes to bat, Praveen? What's the strategy normally when he's going to bat?
Well, I think, see, whatever it is all about, you got a talent or not, you have to read the situation and you have to respond that situation. To be honest, that's the test cricket. So that you have to find the way. You want to go aggressive and you give that result, it's up to you. If someone who got a player like Rahane and Pujara, they got their different attitude, but they go there, they grind themselves and they place those long innings and get us that runs what we want on the board. So ultimately in cricket, if that is all the runs on the board, how you get it, that's your formula.
Yeah, Satish, you need this kind of a character sometime in a team where when we are totally blocked, you need to break the shackles. You need to counter attack sometimes. So this kind of players can be useful sometimes, but it all depends upon the team management and the selectors, how they look about it. But they have given a free hand to him. You just play your natural game. It's a very thin line. Like Praveen also said, it's you have to change your mindset, how responsible you are. You need to play according to the situation, and you get out sometime, and you win the matches for the team sometimes. So it's up to the team management how you handle him, and how it's up to the players also to understand that now the team management or the selectors have given you a chance, enough opportunity. You need to start delivering it.
Yeah. Pragyan, did you ever play reverse sweep, Pragyan? Yeah.
I wish I did. Most of the time, I never got my batting. But yes, I think I agree with what Praveen sir and Nayan said. There is a very thin line. See, when you're young, when the whole nation is having that expectation from you, you have that talent in you. We have seen the best example is Rohit Sharma. When he came into the team, everybody spoke about like he's very talented, but then for a few years he had a rough patch. But look at the way he repaid the trust that was put on him by the selectors or everybody who wanted him to play for the country. Look at the way he transformed. So there is a very thin line. See, Rishabh Pant is getting his opportunity, but he also has to understand this is the Indian team. This is not a franchisee team where you have 10 teams or 8 teams and you have got enough matches so that if you fail for 4 games, you have got another 10 or 12 games. So that is something which he needs to understand. And who better than Rahul Dravid being there at the top of the helm and talking to him? I think I expect a lot of change in him. I'm not saying that he should curve down his natural instinct, but what I feel is when you're playing for the country, there is a responsibility and you're the expectation that the 1.3 billion people are having from you. So that you have to carry. I think that is the trick. So he has to play his natural game, but at the same time, he should understand that, what is the situation and how to deal with it. So once he finds it, if you look at MS Dhoni, he never had a technique to play red ball cricket. If you have ever spoken to him one-on-one, he would say that, playing 90, 91 test matches is like a dream for him with the technique that he had. But he always found a way out. So that is something which, because why I'm talking about MS Dhoni is guru to Rishabh Pant. That is what he's been telling. He's learned a lot from him. He always followed him. So that is something he needs to understand and find out. The temperament, skills at one point, it will not take you too far, but it is the temperament that will take you very far. And that is what we've seen in few cricketers. They don't have few shots. And the biggest example is look at Sachin Tendulkar in Australia, the famous saying that they do. He never played that cover drive because he knew he was getting out to that particular shot. So that is all about temperament. So if he does that, I think with the variety of shots that he can offer, I think sky will be the limit for him.
There's a very interesting comment that Rahul made in one of the press conferences after taking over as coach. He said, look, I don't even think of myself as a player anymore. Now I'm into this and I may draw some experiences, but I don't keep harping I played like this, which is going to help this team. Can you imagine how shocked Rahul will be if he sees a Rishabh Pant, if he keeps talking of himself as a player? I've seen Rahul's son play.
At NCA, Satishji, at NCA, the best part what I heard from Rahul Dravid was when we were having interaction, he said when he was growing up, his coaches, they told him this is the way how you should play. But now things have changed. Now you cannot tell a player that, this is the only way. The way Praveen sir said, very beautifully he put it, saying that, see, we have spoken to you. It is the run that is on the board matters. How you get it, it is up to you. It is your formula. I think that is something which has changed over the years in Indian cricket. And the best part is coaches are now trying to inculcate that thing into the young generation, that boss, end of the day, how many centuries, how many 50s or how many runs you put on the board is important. Because most of the cricketers, they get lost. What I've seen in their junior age group is when they're only thinking about if their defense is right, if their cover drive is right. So I think that has changed, and that goes to all the coaches that we see now, like Praveen sir and all the coaches. They have seen the other side also. Now they're in this side, and they're transforming it. I think that is what is need of the hour. That is why we say it is
Yeah, means that's
2020.
what means I can add in Pragyan that is even a coach's mind should be like a parachute. The parachute works when it's open. So I think the coaches also have to be very open-minded. So, like go with the time. We have to understood like this is the game where, and this is what 2020, if you play a couple of dot balls, that pressure comes. So to release that, you should have that ability to hit boundaries and sixes. And that is where you have to train them to how to hit those boundaries and sixes. So yeah, so that's the line. And I think that's a good thing for Indian cricket. And in even a players, you got a different platform. You got a T20, you got a one day, you got a test. So, like the specialized things will happen, and who got the skill in all format, he will be succeed in all formats. So that's what we have to be as a coaches, have open mind. If that got ability to go and hit and clear the boundary line, why not?
No, I feel, Satish, I think, I need to ask Praveen because he's in coaching. I think if you are having a good technique to survive in a test cricket, I think you'll be able to survive in 50 overs and T20. But you just want to play T20 or 50 overs, it'll be very difficult to survive in test cricket. Am I right, Praveen?
I will say the foundation is important for all three formats.
Yeah.
But you see the case of KL Rahul, he came as a red ball cricket. All they have said he's a specialized in a red ball only. But see the transformation right now, the way he can play. Same thing with the Jadeja. We know the Jadeja, the man who first RR year who won the championship. He was started his career from T20. And if you see like how he ended up, like he's a key player of now test team. So yeah, again, it's depend to person. And as a coach, I still go, we are still that tradition. The foundation is important, but then again, the mindset and the physical ability and also the mental strength of that person to person matters, that which format they can be more successful. And that's what I said. There is now the opportunity. You can be just played next 10-year IPL and you can be taken care of your family.
No, and I really salute Rohit Sharma. I think where he has transformed himself mentally in a test cricket to open, it's not easy. I think he's been batting in one days and T20s, but he came as a number 5, number 6 middle order batsman in test cricket. But when he was promoted at number 1 and number 2, he started getting big runs. The skill was very important. The mindset was important for him. And whatever was lacking with him, I think he worked on his mind, and that really succeeded him in a test cricket. I think it's even in the foreign countries,
that is what
even shorter
careers. I can add in that also, like Rohit was being a successful white ball cricketer, 300s, 3 double hundreds in 1 year, 5 championship IPL. But if you are not succeed in a test cricketer, I personally feel, as an individual cricketer, you feel that you are not played good cricket, to be honest. And that is the reason we mentoring with the Shreyas also, we taught him that, yes, you lead the IPL team, but it's, getting test cap and getting test 100, it's a different feeling. So I think that
as a cricketer, you always recognize yourself when you play for India in test cricket. I think that's a real challenge. I think you get satisfied playing test matches for India for a longer duration. You always want to play. Yeah, you will be successful in 50 overs, T20s. But if you don't play test matches, the back of the mind, there will be always the shortcoming that I have not played test cricket for India. I wish I would have played for test cricket. All cricketers want to play test cricket because that's a real challenge. That's the toughest part of cricket is playing test cricket.
And the biggest challenge is in white ball cricket in T20 and 50 overs, you can hide your weaknesses.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cricketers, they hide their weaknesses. But in test cricket, you can never hide your weaknesses. You always get exposed. That is why you always improve yourself, because we have seen the greatest improving themselves, because at some point they get caught up with whatever the weaknesses they have. I think that is the beauty of test cricket. And there was a beautiful article which I read, what Praveen sir was mentioning. Shreyas Iyer, I think he had a discussion with Praveen sir because he mentors him. So Praveen sir told him, you have the best of the cars, you have the best of the watches, you have the best of the houses, but do you have a test cap? Have you ever played for the Indian team wearing the white jersey? And that is something which really motivated him. If you see past 2 years, he was not playing red ball cricket. But the moment he came and made his test debut, he never looked like he was out of that fish out of water. So that is something which it depends on the coaches, how they motivate a particular player and they know the pulse where to hit and how to hit it. So I think that is something which I really like, because a lot of cricketers they have in them, but how you touch them and how you speak to them is very important.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, add to that, it comes when you have to spend more time with them, and to get their, basically the most difficult is to get their trust. So that's very important, to get their trust. Like they trust you, and we as a coaches has to be sometimes like a mirror. If they are wrong, we have to say on their face. There is no way like we can diplomatically talking to them, because ultimately what we want to go that to see that they're going to the next level. And sometimes we have to take that tough call to use a different language to them. Yeah, but for that, like that, we should know that as a person is very important. What language will help to get the best of him? To be ultimately is all about is like getting best of them to on the ground and get their ability. They justify their talent, what they got naturally. I think that's a very important point.
Yeah, harnessing the individual talent, it's up to the coach and how much hunger you have in your belly as an individual player. Where do you want to play? How long do you want to play? Where and how do you want to perform? It's up to the players. The coaches can take it to a certain level, but yes, to have that fire in your belly, it's up to the individual players. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Gentlemen, it's been absolutely interesting, to hear all of you. And I completely agree that not only for you players, even for us fans, in my earlier avatar as a reporter, but Test cricket is the best to watch. You remember, you forget very quickly a T20 result, and maybe a ODI result too. But you never forget what happened in which series, where, you don't have, I don't have to look up records or log into somewhere and check if it's Test cricket. So that's the beauty. And I just hope these three tests, give us something to remember. Normally, I put my panelists on the mat and ask them, how the series will go. But I can excuse you guys because the new year is coming. It's time to have, that. But one thing I would like to get for you is South Africa a bat first kind of pitches, or again it goes by each pitch? Praveen, I mean, any of you can answer this. The toss, what happens in South Africa? Do you still look at the pitch and decide, or you blindly bat first?
Well, I think again that's that they how they prepare the wicket, and I think to be honest, the champion team doesn't believe on a toss. To be honest, they got that setup and a mindset. Yeah, except I can say in the Dubai World Cup where a toss was important, but not in a Test cricket. I will say unless they will, but see like what the strength we got a bowling attack, so they are not going to come up with the 6 mm of grass or something like that. So whatever will be there, they are also very careful what type of wicket they are preparing. And I think if they do that, to be honest, I think our spinners will have a role on a 4th or 5th day.
Nayan, my reading in South Africa is that it's a country where losing the toss doesn't mean you lose the match. There are some places where you can do that. But am I right in that, saying that both teams always have a chance irrespective of the toss?
Oh, absolutely. It all depends how much runs you put on the board, whether you bat first or you bat second. If you bat first, put runs on the board, you can put pressure on opposition. And if you field first, get early wickets, and they have very fragile middle order batsmen. So you can put runs on the board, and that will be the best wicket to bat on the second day of any test match in South Africa. So it all depends upon the surface, what kind of surface you're getting, and then take a call from there and what kind of team you're playing. And if you're playing with 3 or 4 fast bowlers and there is some moisture in and there's some green grass on it, you might make use of it and get early inroads of South Africa.
All right. Pragya?
I have a slightly different take on this, because if you see the pattern, how this generation captain have followed, when they're touring abroad, normally what they do is win the toss, they bat first, because the wickets have been changing. Apart from places like New Zealand and maybe a wicket like Perth or something, they have different views. But if you see in South Africa or in England, a few of the captains, they win the toss and bat first. That is only because the wickets have been behaving differently, and later on it has been helping the spinners a bit because of the footmarks. And remember, when it happens in South Africa, when you have those footmarks, the ball bounces and turns sharp. So I think that is something which this younger captains have been doing, and they have been little more courageous, because they believe that they have to take the responsibilities, because most of the captains are the batsmen, and Virat being little aggressive, that is what he's been doing, if you see his pattern.
All right, gentlemen, as I said, it's been a really interesting chat. I very much appreciate the time that you've given us for this show. I'm sure the audience enjoyed it. I'd like to thank the audience also for having joined us and my colleague Ankita for having put this show together. I hope to welcome you all back once again in the near future for a chat. In the meantime, have a Merry Christmas, season's greetings to all of you, and
Merry
happy
Christmas to all.
22.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Best
Merry
wishes.
all of
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Satish.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pragyan. Thank you, Ambi.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Nayan.
Nanbai. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Pragyan.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Satish. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks. Cheers. Bye.